Time to play some Chaos Head. No, I haven't played this in a long time. Or it's been over 2 years for me, but I'm in the mood to read a visual novel, so we're gonna continue my old playthrough. I never finished it. So we'll see where we last left off. Load. See? Last playthrough. February 18th, 2023. Chapter 5 now. Okay. Alright, it's time to read.
そりゃそうだよな。
Oh yeah. There was no such thing as an evil Iesk psychic power to turn delusions into reality. I was way too chuny. What was I, 5? I felt ashamed to have ever thought I held such a power. Heaving a long sigh, I lowered the sword. But right as I did, I sensed the gaze behind me. I want to actually read? Nah, I don't know. Out loud, what we should see. I could feel chills on the back of my neck. Goosebumps rose across the entirety of my body. The gaze again. Someone's actually watching. That was a clearer sign. A sign that, right at the moment, someone was watching me. Who is watching me? I don't know. Don't look at me. I was gonna turn around like I ever turn around. Oh. Ooh. Not only that I sensed a presence, but I heard a voice as well. To be precise, it hadn't exactly been a voice, it had been closer to a sigh. Tell me, I might have made a terrible mistake. Slowly, ever so slowly, turned around. There was Remy, staring right at me. It's Remy. So that was it. No wonder the sense of presence had been more intense than usual. Granted, that only made sense, considering I wasn't just feeling like I was being watched. I was being watched. This was definitely going to get confusing. Oh god, had Remy seen me go full Chunibyo? Brandishing a sword and all that from start to finish? Brandishing! I was gonna die from embarrassment. Except something was off about her. Remy's brow furrowed, and she stared at me without blinking even once. It wasn't me she was looking at, but the object I held, the toy, Tiso. Why did she look so serious? It felt like she was an entirely different person from the one that getting all confused about patterns earlier. What? A pleasant memory flashed through my mind. Remy was on my side. She was supposed to be. However, I still hadn't solved the mysteries surrounding her. Did Remy know something about these swords? A gulp. I nervously called out to her. Wow. Her gaze still fixated on me. Remy opened her mouth. Her voice was stifled, void of any and all emotion.
その件だけど
Remy was my ally, wasn't she? She wouldn't betray me like Yuan did, would she? If even Remy betrayed me, I'd...
捨てた方がいいと思う。
どうして
I've read this in the past, but well, I guess I made it this far. I don't know. My voice nearly cracked. Did Remy know something after all?
だって
Remy's gaze finally moved, but this time it landed squarely on my eyes. I hurriedly averted my own. What was she going to say?
だってもう高校生だし
Oh. I feel like I should have a more further save, but I guess not. The abrupt change in demeanor left me speechless.
そりゃ男の子っていくつになってもそういうおもちゃが大好きなんだなってのはなんとなくわかるけど さすがにそんな大きなおもちゃ一人で部屋で振り回してるのはどうかと思うよ。
True.
それが許されるのは小学生までじゃない？
Oh.
でもタクの個人的な趣味を私の前で披露してくれたってのはちょっと嬉しいかも。
Maybe I know this from the anime. I don't know.
私にだけ
Whoa.
秘密を教えてくれたみたいで。
あ、
Ah, Fonzie. That's Yoshino Hiroyuki speaking, I think. What the hell, man? Sorry. Got all scared for no reason.
そもそもそれどこで買ってきたの？高かったんじゃない？
1万円。渋谷の雑貨屋で。
Oh.
へえ、1万円か。安いのか高いのかわからないけどでもそんな大きなおもちゃが普通に売ってるんだね。私そんな大きなのを直接見たのって初めて。
I'm liking this upbeat music.
その雑貨屋さんに売ってるっていうのは誰かに教えてもらったの？
She really wasn't gonna let it go. Was she interested in these kind of swords or something? Maybe Rimi was actually a total Churikyu in disguise. So the one who had been making fun of me for having a sword, she wanted one herself? Isn't it much? Hee. There's LaMayo.
自分で調べた。ネットで。
Today.
ネットか。すごいな。何でも情報が手に入るんだね。私は全然ダメ。パソコンなんてろくに使えないよ。
Oh.
で、その剣って流行ってるの？
I guess so.
なんで？
タクはどうしてそれを買おうと思ったのかなって。
Maybe I should just tell her the truth. If she was going to stay by my side moving forward, maybe she'd end up helping me search for a real D-sword in the future. If that was the case, it might be better to just tell her everything now and get it out the way.
これは偽物だけど、本物があるんだ。
本物？
Ooh. Rimi tilted her head, puzzled.
本物を持ってる人、僕知ってるんだ。2人いる。同じ学校の女子。
Oh yeah, okay, I still remember. Yeah, I guess I did though. You thought about this place?
女子ね。
Yeah, girl.
女の子がこんなおもちゃを欲しがるかな。
本当なんだ。それにおもちゃじゃない。
あ、ごめん。
本物は光るんだ。それにすごい存在感で。僕それを探してる。
Go
そ
find
れ
the
さえ
D-sword.
手に入れれば僕は救われるんだ。
救われるって。
Rimi looked quite puzzled. I was dead serious. Not to mention, the D-sword would be a powerful tool to confront Shogun.
それで鉄
Well, help Takumi.
うん？
I wanted to say that I needed her help to find it. Help me, leave me. However, I thought about what I could do. Could even do even if she said no. I grew too scared and anxious to say anything. I dropped the fake sword on the spot and sat down on the sofa. Sigh, I closed my eyes. Did Rimi offer me her help in order to find it? I can see my mouse. She did everything she could. Would turn out okay, but I knew how unrealistic it was to expect her to go that far. Up until now, Rimi had always come dashing to my rescue whenever I was in a tough spot, almost like she could read my mind. In that case, then maybe I.
とにかくもし本物があったとしてもそれこそ買ったりしちゃダメだよ。今タクが持ってるのはおもちゃだからいいけど本物ってことは銃刀法違反になっちゃうんだから。
Oh yeah. The hopes were crushed instantly. The scene of disappointment. Then again, Ruby's reaction made sense from the POV of an average person. These past few weeks, I'd encountered so many inexplicable things, I was nearly at the point where I was ready to believe everything that Senna and Ayase had said. But yeah, those are the two that showed their D-swords. Maybe Ayase was right. I had to find a D-sword entirely on my own.
それでタク、
I felt Remy sit down next to me.
その本物の剣を持ってる女子って誰かな。
Oh, she wants to know. The voice came from very close by. She was right next to me. It was just the two of us in an enclosed, dimly lit room, and we were sitting right next to each other. Emergency, everyone! Battle stations, emergency!
タクに女子の知り合いが私以外にいたなんてちょっとびっくり。
Oh,
もしかして彼女？
so that was where she was going with this. Remy was trying to seduce me? Ooh. The only possible conversation that could result from this topic was one centered on romance. After I told her the truth, she'd give me her confession, and then the movie would start getting really hot and heavy, and then... Oh god, I couldn't do this. I wasn't even remotely prepared for this. Is it time for delusions to happen? I don't know. I opened my eyes and frantically shook my head. Both Ayase and Senna were mysterious creatures. Not to mention absolute mental cases. Schizo didn't even begin to describe them. I'd have mowed over them if they were 2D characters, but I'd never mow it over 3D shit. Especially with Senna. Talk to her just scared me. It wouldn't surprise me if violence was just part of her MO. I wanted to stay as far away from her as possible.
そっか。ちょっと安心したかな。
え
Alright. Black trick. So we go red or... Oh wait, how do I check? Do I just like click on this? I guess. There we go. Let's go green now. You know, I like Remy. She deserves a green flag. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! My whole body froze in place. She clearly said that on purpose, right? Was she suddenly hitting on me right now? Judging the flow of this conversation, there was a good chance Remy had me right where she wanted me. How should I answer? Wait, do I have to click on this again? Should I just come out and say exactly what she wanted me to hear? Is it working? I don't know. Yeah, surely nothing bad would come from that. But I wasn't sure I had the confidence to go out with a real girl. I guess it is so weird. I was at a loss about what to do, so I opted to subtly examine Remy's expression. Look. Oh, what the hell? What the hell? My mind went completely blank. I couldn't keep up with the sudden and outrageous turn of events. I couldn't even lift a finger. The shock had rendered me unable to speak.
どうかした？
It's like, what are you doing? About your skirt and stuff. In the blink of an eye, Remy had stripped off her school jacket, and not just that. Upon taking a closer look, she had removed her skirt too. As if her extreme outfit wasn't enough, she was also hugging her knees, making it look like she was completely commando. In other words, at this very moment, Remy was sitting right next to me with her head tilted and her eyes on me, covering her underwear with nothing more than a mere shirt. The first thing that popped into my head was a classic private tutor eroge, titled The Unrelenting Emily Sensei. The third chapter had a scene that went exactly like what was experiencing right now. To think that something straight out of an eroge was actually happening to me in reality. What eroge was that from? Reality. WTF? What the fuck? Is this a delusion? Delusion? Or was it legit? Whoa, zooming in. Regardless of whether it was a delusion or not, there was no mistaking that Remy was dressed in an incredibly lewd outfit. Guess by better judgment, my eyes aimed themselves toward her chest. The neck of her shirt went down to her breasts, and thanks to the angle I was looking at her from, I could see what was underneath. Right, pink bra. Yeah, surprisingly large breasts. Sakata-san. Wait, stop. I think you're perfect if you ogle her like that. Oh no, stop. Stop looking. I don't engage. Only to find myself looking at her hips. Her hip bones? Holy looking she really wasn't wearing a skirt. I can see your panties, Sakata-san. Simple yet lovely pair. This would make some excellent back material. Oh god, my Johnson was starting to make himself very known. Johnny Johnson? Her body had been giving off a nice sense for a while now, and now, how should I put it? The texture of her skin combined with her amazing figure had all put 2D to shame. Since the true power of the third dimension, I'm not gonna lie, she was flaws full. She seemed very capable of instantly obliterating the values I'd held dear until now. Even though I'd never been into 3D, nor had I ever planned to change that. Even though I'd only ever loved 2D characters. Right now, Remy held enough destructive power to obliterate those lofty values with a single stroke. Her faint breaths, which sounded almost aroused. That delicately swaying, lustrous hair. The way her chest rose and fell with each breath. The manner with which she seductively rubbed her thighs together. Those shimmering eyes, that pink tongue peeping from her partially open lips. It's getting hard to breathe. My mind was in a complete, other dimension. What was this feeling? It was akin to an agonizing feeling of yearning I felt whenever I started in an H scene in an early. I couldn't keep calm. Remy called my name in a sickly, sweet voice. My eyes were now permanently glued to her body. It was the first time I had ever seen a physically mature girl up so close. Was Remy trying to seduce me? Did she like me? So, I had to admit, I wasn't a fan of how shamelessly she was going about it. I guess it was just that I preferred love to come from the subtle nurturing, platonic affection. Once graduation arrived, that love would come to fruition through a bashful confession spoken under the Oak of Legends. Having mustered so much courage to say that to me, she then cried tears of joy when I said yes, leading us to a kiss, and then, well, that was what I wanted. The current way things were going was far from platonic.
私喉乾いてきちゃった
Oh, she's thirsty.
何か飲み物ある
I got some cola for you. That's what Takumi always has. I have cola. Unable to endure the horniness any longer, I eagerly rose to my feet. What did I have? What did I have? Was there anything in the fridge? I had some half-finished cola, but I drank directly from the bottle, so probably wouldn't be the best idea to give it to Remy.
ないなら買ってこようかなコンビニって深センの駅前にあったよね
Yeah. I felt Remy stand up behind me.
ちょっと行ってくる
She was sleeping? No! I frantically turned around to see Remy still dressed in that shameless outfit, opening the door to head outside. What are you doing? She was gonna go to the convenience store while people could see her panties. She wasn't. Was Remy an exhibitionist or something? Illusion done.
露出鏡
うわ
Hearing that behind me made me literally jump in the air and land on my ass. There stood Remy, who should have been just about to leave the room. And not only that, but she was wearing her usual outfit. All fully on. She looked down at me with wide eyes.
あ、え、
びっくりした。急に大声出さないでよ。
パーティー。
さっきから変だよ。一人でブツブツ言い出したかと思ったら急に大声上げるし。どうかしたの？
Why was Remy there now? She should have been just about to leave the container. Had that half-naked Remy been a delusion? Bum, 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 I don't know. She felt so real. I hadn't touched her, but merely looking at her skin made me think how squishy and soft it'd be if I touched it. Wait, what the hell was I saying? I was losing my mind today.
ねえ、タク、
I cringed when she called my name. Did she hate me now? What would I do if she was already fed up with me? If Remy wouldn't stay with me, I wouldn't even be able to go out alone anymore. No.
私、喉乾いてきちゃった。
Oh, yeah? I got some
何
cola.
か飲み物ある？
Let me check the cooler. She had asked me the exact same thing as before. However, rather than that sultry tone from before, her voice was perfectly normal now. I shook my head from side to side. Remy poked her temple with her index finger and pursed her lips in thought.
ないなら買ってこようかな。コンビニって深センの駅前にあったよね。ちょっと行ってくる。
Bye bye. She gave me a big smile and left without waiting for my response. I could only watch her leave in a daze. Going to the convenience store in uniform, which was completely normal. That half-naked Remy before really had been a delusion. I felt a mixture of both relief and slight disappointment. Oh, but, that half-naked Remy, eyes is splitting in two. What kind of mechanism was capable of producing those delusions accurately enough to feel real? Had it even been that, though? Did I have powers or not? And if I did, how could I actively use them? How could I obtain a D-Soul? I don't know. I was still stuck deep in a maze of questions, unable to do anything but wander around aimlessly. While Remy went out shopping, I went back to researching the patent and mind reading. When I reached my computer, I noticed that Grim had entered the chat room and was looking for me. Hello, Grim. I sighed and reluctantly entered the chat room. Cool. Neidhart. I thought it was Reinhardt. Whoa. Damn it! The F was Idler's eyes mode. Him obviously just wanted to use the phrase for the hell of it. Even though he knew I hated seeing that goddamn thing, I'd always freak out whenever I saw it. Look at Seira-san. Seira-san. What's happening? It freeze? Oh, okay, I have him type.
また。
Another case? Uh-oh. Of course, I felt the usual depression I always felt whenever I heard about New Gen, but on the other hand, I was also bewildered. I was sure that Shogun and Yua would target me this time. My fate had been delayed, it seemed, though I wasn't sure whether or not to be happy about that. Oh.
Mate!
Know that that guy's brains were removed? What? Wow. Without warning, Grim started telling me the details of the case, and I began to panic. I was beyond done with all this gory spit. I didn't want to hear about any of it. If I got word of it, I might imagine myself getting brutally murdered in the same way. Even though I still hadn't found out how to get a D-sword. Yet Grim continued mercilessly. The repulsiveness of it all sent chills down my spine. I wrapped my arms around my body. Oh no, he was still alive. Oh. I didn't want to hear anymore. Spare me. Please, I'm begging you. My life already went to a spit a long time ago, so please. Whoa, he types so fast, Grim. It's like, Takumi is not writing anything. He's like, let me write something. He's like, oh, I understand. A psychiatrist. The moment I saw that word, my heart rate. I may have been overthinking it, but I had to check to make certain. But I also didn't want to. Breaking news. News breaking. On Taboo. After hesitating on and off for a while, I eventually went to the homepage of Taboo. Opened the news article reporting on the Numbskull incident. Numbskull. Whoa. New Gen Madness.
なんてことだ。なんて。
Yeah, how could this happen? The victim's name. Takashina Fumio. Oh. Was that a psychiatrist? I think so. Dr. Takashina. Dr. Takashina. Yo! He was provoking me. Shogun was blatantly provoking me. To do that, he killed the only doctor I could rely on. Just to set an example.
そんな。そんな。助けて。誰か助けてくれ。
I let out a scream. My mind was in complete disarray. I felt like I was on the brink of snapping. Okay. No.
やだ。死にたくないよ。死にたくない。
It was cool.
リミ、助けて。
Search for Rin. Whoa. I frantically looked around the room over and over. She wasn't there. She wasn't there. She wasn't there. Why wasn't she there? Because she just went out shopping. I laid down on the ground, clutching my head.
僕を助けて、リミ。助けてよ。どこにも行かないで。頼むよ。
You got an idea. Oh, she's actually here? Someone responded to me. Oh, she's back. Shocked, I looked up to find Remy standing right beside me, holding a convenience store bag.
リミ。
She had come back. Thank goodness, relieved, I held out my hand. Remy crouched down and embraced my hand with both of her own. Her hands had been cool when she had touched me before, but now they felt so unbelievably warm.
ここにいる。
お
私はここにいるから。怯えないで。
Using her finger, Remy wiped my tears away with a gentle smile. How pathetic could I be? I wasn't a man at all. Showing how terrified I was, crying and screaming, all in front of a girl. And yet, even while knowing how pathetic I was, I still said that she would stay by my side. Right now, this warmth I felt was the only thing keeping my mind from shattering. Until I got a D-sword. I never wanted to let her go. Whenever night fell, Miyashita Park always found itself engulfed in a peculiar air. Whoa, whose eyes are those eyes? Whose eyes are those eyes? In the center of the park stood a large group of people packed together. There must have been no less than 100 of them. Most of them seemed to be in their teens, with some wearing high school uniforms and others, particularly girls, wearing fashionable casual clothes. Then the crowd was an otaku-esque young man with glasses and a genguro, a high school girl, which was a fairly rare sight in this day and age. From an outsider's perspective, one would think that they were attending some kind of event, but upon closer inspection, it became clear that their behavior was anything but normal. They were all looking at the ground, their eyes unfocused and empty. Even though quite a number of people were gathered here, none of them conversed with each other. They simply stood there, frozen in place. Every last one of them wore the same face smile, all while murmuring something under their breaths. Praise that their whole bodies and minds were dedicated to saying, "Show me, bend to me." Yep, whose eyes are those eyes? That phrase seeped from the mouths of the 100 people there. Despite their smiles, the chant rose as nothing more than a flat, emotionless murmur, echoing throughout the park like a Buddhist sutra. Naturally, due to the bizarre state the people there were under, no one else was roaming Miyashita Park. A female officer worked on her way home from work, and a middle-aged woman walking her dog attempted to pass through, only to find themselves terrified by that strange sight and turned back the way they came. There was only a single man who was paying close attention to that particular group. At first glance, it appeared that he was too part of the group, but in actuality, he was standing alone a few meters away from them. Considering his voice and clothing, the man blended in quite well in Akihabara. He wore a plaid shirt, deeply worn sneakers, mittens, a red bandana, and a green rucksack. He was fairly corpulent, which made the buttons on his shirt appear as though they were about to come off. It was late in October, so while the air should have already been quite cool, the man's forehead was covered in sweat. Constant war against this. The man attempted to wipe it away with a towel, but to no avail. He looked around restlessly, seemingly unable to calm down, yet from the way his shoulders moved, he almost appeared as if he was laughing. Ever since he had begun, accompanying the sutra-like chants was a distinct, mechanical sound, the origin of which was the man's rucksack. What was that now? Another high school, at least one wearing a blazer, entered the park. Instead of flinching at the sight of the peculiar group, she kept her eyes locked onto them as she steadily approached. "Dan, you know me." She walked, her long black hair fluttering in the wind. Gave off an aura of pure confidence and gallantry. Somewhat of a contrast to this, the girl carried a half-eaten popsicle in her hand. The group paid her no mind. They were completely absorbed in their own world, continuing to repeat the same phrase over and over again. Being ignored did not faze her either. She did not even miss that girl. "I don't know, me." And then as she was drawing closer to the group, she suddenly stopped. He nibbled at the popsicle while remaining thoroughly composed. As she chewed, a distinct sound of crunching escaped her mouth. Lunch. When she finished eating, the girl looked at the stick left behind by the treat, clipped her tongue, and tossed it away at her feet. Her eyes, sharp as ever, her gaze slowly moved over the faces of each individual of the group. "Oi! The man with the rucksack shouted at her, the girl now clearly beyond the limit of what he could ignore. Naturally, the girl, always senile as well, aware that the man had been watching her since she had arrived. With a mocking snort, she abruptly crossed her hands over each other, then straightened her arms out in front of her. She's ready to take out her sword? A key sword? I don't know. Then the area between her hands warped faintly, and the vague shape of a metal rod appeared. It looked similar to a hoe or a shovel, but the shape matched neither of those descriptions. It was a razor-sharp sword, with a bifurcated blade. After a moment, it took on a definite shape, and Senna grasped it with both hands. However, it did not end there. Immediately after, a blue light illuminated both sides of the sword Senna was holding, as well as the arrow directly. I clicked on by accident. Oh well. Just as before, metal pieces appeared from that glowing blue space. As they took shape, they noisily fused with the long blade that had appeared before them. At last, a ring formed, one from which another long trail of light streaked far to the right. The bifurcated blade traced the trail's trajectory as it came into being. Though one might have originally thought of it to be a hoe or shovel, it was now clear that it had transformed into a gigantic sword. Sharp yet elegant, translucent yet destructive, sinister, beautiful. With an overwhelming sense of presence, the sword settled in Senna's hand. The man with the rucksack showed no reaction. He simply stared at Senna with a malicious look on his face.
関係者じゃないだろ。あっち行けよ。
Okay. With a voice quite high-pitched for a man, he had ordered Senna to leave, accompanying it with a violent gesture. His tone was thoroughly domineering, though he kept his distance with him. Senna, on the other hand, opened her mouth without showing any shift in emotion.
お前が責任者
It seemed to be more of a request for confirmation rather than an actual question. She rotated her gaze toward the man with the rucksack, locking him in place. In response, the man showed clear signs of fluster, providing a fierce contrast to what he had displayed before them.
答えろ旗のはどこだ
Who's Hatano? The man, too paralyzed by fear, was unable to answer a question. A group of people muttering, "Whose eyes are those eyes?" paid no attention to the exchange between the two. Their eyes did not even register. Senna's gaze met the man's. First over their eyes was him.
誰だよそれ
Oh, there. I don't know.
たとえしてても教えないけどな
Whoa. Suni no Kunai. Remaining silent, Senna brandished the great sword she was holding in both hands in a Sumi no Kamai stance. Then slowly lowered her hips, and then she cast her upper body forward. Oh? Holographic.
誤解する
The sword emitted light once more. But unlike before, what it released was not a huge blue light, but a light blending together a fierce purple and red. Whoa! Ah! Suddenly, a high-pitched screech resembling a woman's scream resounded. The atmosphere between her and the man was warped with anger. Not in the metaphorical manner. It was entirely physical. The very air itself vibrated, verging toward the sword Senna was holding. The red glow of the sword became inconceivably intense to the point of dazzlement. Senna took a small breath and gritted her teeth. Whoa. A booming sound rolled. A shower of sparks surged. A sonic wave erupted, one that sought to blow away the air itself. The vibration in the air then immediately subsided. Oh, it's all silent now. It's a great air, I guess. The sword, however, continued to flicker with a brilliant red glow, one reminiscent of pulsing blood. Senna slowly pointed the tip of her sword directly at the man. As one would expect, the previously indifferent group started showing signs of agitation. Bewildered, they all started running away as if they had returned to their senses. Senna paid them no mind. She simply kept her eyes locked on it. The single man with the rucksack. The man who until now had shown no clear signs of fear began to panic. He started taking a few steps back, his face turning pale. He shook his head in denial.
待って、俺は畑野なんてやつ本当に知らないんだ。ただ指示されただけ。
誤解するなと言ったはず。
Senna did not even remotely entertain the man's supplications.
質問したのはただの挨拶代わりだ。
Oh, okay.
お前が何を答えたってそれを壊すことに変わりはない。
Ooh. A fierce glitter dwelled within her eyes. The man shrieked pitifully, turned on his heel, and attempted to flee. However, the group which had only just dispersed was now running away in the confusion. The escape route blocked. The man who had grown far beyond frantic stopped dead in his tracks. And at that very moment, Senna kicked off the ground and closed the gap between her and the man's back. Ooh. It was. She got a robot? A machine? A blow so swift. It's hard to conceptualize that it had come from Senna Slender's arms. The blade swept horizontally, shredding the rucksack the man was carrying. The impact blew the man away, collapsed to the ground, and curled into a ball. Covering his head with his hands, having lost the will to flee, all the man could do was tremble. Its groin was now sodden, the man having become incontinent out of fear. Senna walked over to the man and, without paying him any mind, gazed down at the contents of the destroyed rucksack. Oh, the rucksack, okay. A collection of small sparks spurted out from within, emitting a cracking sound. There was a device inside. It might have already called to mind a device one size larger than modern, but hold it not. But after getting demolished by Senna's D-sword, it was now in pieces. It could not be any use anymore. The deafening mechanical sound that had been coming from within the rucksack could no longer be heard.
のぞみ
Also me. Whether to no one in particular, Senna's voice oozed with feature. Numbskull. Number 6? Question mark? Who knows? As fall moved forward, it had gradually been getting colder outside. The fact that I've been able to go out in a short-sleeved shirt only a few days ago felt unreal. The color of the sky was somewhat dull. Its previously bright tint seemed to be fading. If you went to a park, you'd be able to see the vibrant autumn leaves sprouting from the trees. Maybe they were sucking the color from the sky. As I looked up toward that sky, I jammed my toothbrush into my mouth. The nice thing about my base was that I had no eyes on me. I could do anything I wanted on the roof without fear of others people scrutiny. It was also fairly spacious, giving it a nice open feel. My sink was located outside my container, which allowed me to brush my teeth outside when the weather was nice. It was pretty inconvenient when it rained, though. As I rubbed my sleepy eyes, I moved my toothbrush around my mouth and thought back to back what had happened a day prior. Even after everything, Grimmy had stayed in my room until late at night. Oh! She even held my hand until I finally calmed down, which had taken at least an hour. Whoa. Although I should clarify that nothing had actually happened between us before she'd gone home. Two people of the opposite sex, and the same age no less, had been left all alone in a cramped room for hours on end. Yet they never broached any particularly lewd topics. If I had the skills to carry out a conversation like that, I would have gained normie stance a long time ago. Indeed. Jesus Christ. Why was I like this? The part of me that wanted this BS. Sexual gratification made me want to puke. Remy was genuinely trying to help me. And it was as a friend, nothing more. She had already done a lot for me just by saying, I'll stay by her side. That alone made me feel leagues better. Having just that pillar of support made a tremendous difference. Despite the gut-wrenching murder of Dr. Takashina in the numbskull case, I found myself feeling pretty stable after that night had passed. Come to think of it, what the hell was up with her acting so sexual before? That felt way too real to be called a hallucination. Whoa. No matter how much I tried to convince myself otherwise, I just couldn't get over how sexy it was. It wasn't like I had stared at them or anything, but I could definitely say that I'd seen the folds in their panties. As a proclaimed panty expert, I'll bite only for figures. I know how realistic these folds have been. Those folds have been. Yeah. They had a level of detail you wouldn't see in a delusion. Okay, you know what? Who cares about dumb shit like that? Just forget it. The power to project delusions onto reality. Such a thing really exists? Was I being targeted by Shogun because I had the power to do so? If I did have that power, childhood memory resurfaced. It was a day I hadn't been able to go on the field trip. Day when I'd been the only one not involved in a certain accident. Oh, the bus had crashed and several of my classmates were injured. And Mr. Saito, my teacher, died. I remembered images of those things appearing vividly in my mind back then. I had seen them clear as day, had it really just been foreknowledge? What if those images had just been foreknowledge? What if they had been a delusion of mine? What if I projected that delusion onto reality? My body threatened to start trembling, so I wrapped my arms around myself in an attempt to counter it.
だとしたら僕は
A murder. Oh, is that Nanami? I don't remember what his younger sister's is named. I forgot. Oh no, it's Rimi. Never mind. Rimi was standing there. Despite how early in the morning it was, she was just as cheerful and energetic as ever. The moment I saw her smile, the trembling I had been unable to fight suddenly ceased. That was odd. I used to get extremely uncomfortable whenever 3D girls were around me, but for some reason, I felt at ease now that Rimi was here.
迎えに来たよ。
Yay! Thank you for picking me up, Rimi!
なんでポカーンってしてるの？
Oh, I understood now. According to the minimum attendance chart, I had to go to school today. I probably told Rimi that yesterday.
迎えに来てあげるって言ったよね。
Yeah, it had to be that because of Shogun. I'd been too afraid to go out on my own, and that was when Rimi told me, I'll stay by your side. He was keeping that promise.
まさか本当に来るとは思わなかったとか？ビシッ
Bishi? Oh.
残念でした。こう見えても私尽くすタイプなんだ。
Thank you, Kita Eddie. Or Rimi. Rimi winked mischievously at me. Wink, wink. Oh, wow. What was this? I couldn't believe a girl from my class had come to pick me up. It was a scenario I would have never expected to ever happen in real life. Yeah, if she wanted to make it genuinely top tier, She should have barged into my room and woken me up. That would have insta-killed me. Wow, I cooked up idiotic delusions like that. Remy looked up at the sky. That this a look of hers again.
冬の空が色あせたように見えるのは
So,
どうしてだと思う？
I don't know. Well, the sun's light is composed of 7 colors, the well-known colors of the rainbow. For all 7 colors to reach the human eye, they first have to pass through the Earth's atmosphere. When that happens, a phenomenon called scattering occurs. Put it simply, when light collides with particles in the atmosphere, it gets refracted in several random directions. Since it gets refracted in random directions, it results in light traveling around a lot, and that's what makes it really observable for people. The colors that scatter the most are purple and blue. That's why the sky is blue. I'm so smart, I impress myself sometimes. For a while, my answer was based in scientific fact. Remy's came from emotions and romanticism.
きっと寒くてみんなが下を向いちゃうから、青を望む人の数が減っちゃうの。
Felt like Remy had already said something like that before, but when exactly?
だから寒くても上を向いて歩こ
Hey. I quickly changed clothes, then left the Kurenai conference hall building with Remy.
う。
Oh, was that? Who's that? I know it's Ayase, but I'm like, I don't remember the group's name. Oh, well. Going to school together for all intents and purposes. This was Normie Spit. Shogun and Yua terrified me so much, I honestly wanted them to die. And I really meant that. Effing cute. What? Both of you. And yet, thanks to them, I've been able to test out Normie. Maybe I owed them more than I realized. I attempted to force myself to change how I felt about them, but Dr. Takashina's face resurfaced in my mind, and my good mood was instantly blown away. My doctor had been killed, and it could be very well have been because of me. Shogun had killed the doctor I knew well, all to set an example provoked me. I was hit with a wave of pure anxiety and dread. Began to gradually fall behind with me. Looking at her diagonally now, glanced at the back of her head. What kind of expression could she be making? She was humming. Oh yeah, Phantasm. She was humming a song from the Phantom CD I lent her the day prior. Her footsteps were light and bouncy. We weren't even talking, so why was she so happy? What? Seeing her like that, it helped alleviate my anxiety, if only a little bit. But it was probably, to be honest, probably time to be honest with myself. Why was Remy being so nice to me? Maybe the reason lay within the memories I prefer. Memories that were lost to me. When we arrived at school, I let Remy go off on her own and made her break for the restroom. That was one of my secretly OP tactics. I felt bad since Remy had gone out of her way to pick me up, but coming to school with a girl would make me stand out. Especially if the DQ ends in my class noticed. Who knew what terrible fate would be in store for me then? That was when I had taken out a short break in the restroom. It would buy me enough time to make them think I'd come alone. And yet my mission had ended in failure out my finger. Putting a nonchalant look on my face, I left the restroom and headed toward the classroom at the end of the hallway. Keeping my head down all the way. Well, it's Ayase. Yeah, as I made my way there, I spotted Ayase walking toward me. The moment our eyes met, Ayasa's lips twisted into a thin smile. Ayasa was a celebrity. I knew I'd be better off not talking to her when we were at school, as it would only make me stand out. Unfortunately, Ayasa wasn't on the same page that I was, which she showed by choosing to stop directly in front of me. I had no choice but to follow suit.
匠、あれから警察はどう？
I don't remember. I nearly screamed, but I managed to cover my mouth with my hand. But why would you bring that up in public? I looked around in a panic. The situation was already really bad. Unsurprisingly, Ayasa was at the center of attention. It was rare for her to come to school at all. And she was Phantasm's vocalist. And she was a beautiful, androgynous woman. That last thing was pretty much a universal opinion, meaning both guys and girls alike were immensely interested in Ayasa. And they all knew there was no way she'd be talking to an otaku freak like me under normal circumstances. Gazes surrounding me were painful. I wanted to run away.
剣を探して。
It's about
君は
to
そうしなくちゃいけないのよ。
find that D sword. She always said the same thing every time we met. Find your sword. I assumed had been on my side, but I was tired of her repeating the same BS over and over again like a broken record. I want to get it just as much as you want me to. I just don't know how.
ヒントが欲しい。君はどうやってあれを手に入れた？
いつの間にかそこにあった。
Oh, okay. And there it was. Was she ever going to stop dodging the goddamn
気
question?
づかなかったわ、最初は。でも、ちょっとだけ見方を変えたら分かった。もしかしたら、匠にももう見えているのかも。
Oh.
見ていないだけで。
And she lost. Conversing with Ayasa always wore me out. Spare me the Zen koans, please.
剣はちゃんと探してるよ。僕だって絶対手に入れたいから。
Unable to bear the piercing gazes for even a second longer, I gave Ayasa a short sigh of exasperation and slipped past her and into the classroom. After all that, I became even more depressed. Some of the guys, Misumi-kun included, were staring at me. Astonishment. Spit. They see me talking to Ayase. I was in deep spit now. Who knew what they were going to say to me? To deal with it, it just made fun of me a bit, but I was worried that they'd go one step further and pick an actual fight with me. Just because I dared to talk to Ayase. I really didn't need a demo of high school gang activity. I dropped my gaze and made my way to my seat, trying to bring the least possible amount of attention to me. I beg you, leave me alone.
おいおいおい
My prayers were left unanswered.
タク、てめえいつの間に今岸本と話してたよな。
Ta-da! Ono Daisuke? I don't remember. Is it Ono Daisuke? Who voices this guy? Oh yeah, it is Ono Daisuke. I was right. Oh, ho, 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 ho. I think it's Ono D. Daisuke Ono. I had to remain silent. I couldn't allow myself to look up.
岸本が誰かとまともに会話してるとこ初めて見たぜ。一体どんな手使ったんだよ。
I beg of you, don't yell so loud. It's echoing throughout the entire classroom. Please, just leave me alone. I have no intention of messing around with Ayase. Even if I wanted to, I'm not worthy of him anyway. So please, stop making such a big deal out of this.
なあタク、教えろって。
大地、
Right then, Remy interrupted me.
落ち着け。タクが困ってるでしょ。
ああ、悪い悪い。
Misumi-kun lowered his voice and clapped me lightly on the back. With my head still hanging low, and out of a small sigh, Rumi had come to see me yet again.
で、実際のところどうやったんだ？
With a smirk. I didn't know what I expected. This was the dude who only thought with the wrong head after all.
もう大臣ってほんと節操ないよね。そのうち彼女さんに刺されるんじゃない？
心配すんなって。俺こう見えても各種ケアは欠かさねえから。
TLC. I was like, tender loving care?
何それ？
Or was it the Lord's Counsel?
なたくん、教えろよ。岸本とはどんな感じなんだ？
Asking me once again, Misumi-kun started rubbing my shoulders. While I was reluctant about it, I timidly looked up. About half the guys in the classroom were taking quick glances at me and whispering to each other. Shit, they were still watching me. Don't look at me! Chills ran over the nape of my neck. If you were caught in the DQN's line of sight, you were finished. They'd never let you hear the end of it. All that awaited you was pure, unending hell. What is DQN? I don't remember. I'm too lazy to look it up. What should I do? Run away? Should I just skip classes and go home? I couldn't do that alone. The mere thought of running into either Shogun or Yua left my legs paralyzed. Should I ask Rimi to go back home with me? She said before that she kept her promises, which meant she'd stay by my side at all times. So if she really had been telling the truth before, surely she'd skip class with me. Regardless, I needed to get out of the classroom as soon as possible. Suddenly, a really loud sound came from the entrance. Everyone immediately turned their gazes towards it, trying to figure out what was going on. Oh, I forgot about this character. It was a transfer student. Rubbing her forehead with tears in her eyes, she bowed silently to everyone around her, again and again. The entire classroom had fallen silent. What the hell?
今の見たか？
見た。一人で勝手に扉に激突してたね。
Oh,
やっぱ梢ちゃんは可愛いな。
ah, it's Kozue. I see.
な
If the clumsy girl archetype actually existed in real life, she certainly fit the bill.
あ、また泣いた。
Oh no, she's crying again.
大丈夫かな？すごい音してたけど。
Worry in her voice, Rimi rang up to the transfer student before anyone else could. Just couldn't help herself from getting involved. What a meddler. But I guess she was just that kind.
うお、リミに先越された。待て待て、梢ちゃんを解放するのは俺だ。
Making his intentions clear, aka telling Rimi to back off, Misumi-kun ran over to the transfer student a bit late. A bite. Transfer student running into the door ended up being a blessing in disguise. The guys that had been staring at me up until then had now shifted their attention toward her. Good job, transfer student. I'd have to thank her later. But right then, I happened to overhear what a group of girls near my desk were saying.
うざ。何あれ？狙ってやってんじゃん。
Their whispers were faint, but I knew exactly what they said. Oh,
視界にはデッドスポットと呼ば
oh
れ
this
る
is Nozomi.
通常
Oh,
は使用されることのないいくつかの神経チャネルが存在することをご存知ですか？
それが第二世代と何か関係があるのかね？
そういうことになります。簡単な実験をしてみましょう。 これをご覧ください。
子供騙しを聞いている暇はないぞ。
重要なことですよ。この図には左側にドット、右側にリングがあります。では、左目を手で覆って見えないようにしてください。そのまま右目だけで図の左側にあるドットを見つめてください。
What? He's gay. What?
いかがですか？ドットを見つめる目の端の方にリングも存在しますか？
What ring? Oh, I guess so, yeah.
いくらドットだけを見つめていても、隣にあるリングがついでに見えているのは当然だと思うがな。
では先生、ドットだけを見つめたままモニターに顔を近づけていってみてください。隣のリングはどうなりますか？
Does this disappear? I don't know. I don't want to.
おお、これは
興味深いね。
It's paused. I'm not doing that.
右側のリングが消えた。そうですね。
Sure.
これは視界が狭まったからではありません。
No?
その証拠に、さらにモニターに近づくことで、リングはまた視界に現れます。
Ah.
これは一体どんなトリックだ？
いいえ、トリックの類ではありません。普段は使用されていないですが、人間が元から持っている目の機能の一つですよ。
It says the third eye.
これはデッドスポットと呼ばれ、
No. Dead spots. Okay.
ノアによって人間の視界の中に無から有を作り出す際に使用するチャネルなのです。
Hmm. Quite interesting. After class is finished, I found myself standing still at the school entrance. Twilight was beginning to encroach upon the sky, and if the girls were flying across it, flapping their wings without so much as a caw. I was waiting for Remy. It was her turn to clean the classroom, so she was taking longer than usual. We hadn't promised to go home together today, but I was sure she would. That we would. So waiting for that to happen, I've been standing there for over 15 minutes. I had no idea how the day would go this morning. I managed to make it through it with fairly little trouble. Misumi-kun was so desperate to talk with the transfer student that he dropped the subject about me and Ayase entirely. I owed it all to the transfer student, really. I guess I'll go, well, she's cool. Let's go green. I don't know, I was like... Speak of the devil, there she was, passing right next to me. Her face looked like she was about to cry. She bowed her head to me. Despite how uncomfortable I felt, I managed to nod back. I watched as she attempted to leave through the school gate, tripping over herself along the way. Once again, I thought about how small she was. She fit the lowly architect to a T. And on top of that, she was a clumsy girl too. I didn't know her very well, but her perfect blend of personalities made me want to shout from the rooftops. She was loaded with moly traits. And yet, she didn't even seem very popular with the other girls. What people value in others really did differ between 2D and 3D, huh? My vision suddenly went pitch black. I felt something push against my eyes. What the hell? Oh, is it me? No effing way. Could this be the legendary Guess Who game? The legends state that it only exists within the world of 2D. Yet she said the classic line. Could it be? Could it well and truly be? I never thought I'd ever experience it in my lifetime. As of right now, I basically won the game of life. No, hang on, calm down. There's no way I'd encounter an urban legend in the third dimension, surely. Right, what was I thinking? I was in a delusion. I had to be. I mean, it was an urban legend, aka something that nobody can confirm the existence of. You almost had me there. I managed to regain composure. If this was a delusion, I wanted to get back to reality ASAP. I could get it over with, kind of like jumping into a lake or something. That way it hurt less. On the other hand, why don't I just indulge myself in this blissful fantasy for a little while? I'm sure Remy won't mind.
ヒントはね、名前に「リ」がつく
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty obvious even without the hint. I could tell the moment she opened her mouth. After all, I was trained in the art of working out the voice actor just by hearing an animated character talk. True, true. That said, I wasn't the VA or otaku or anything like that. This was just a natural stage of progression for anyone who watched anime.
あれわからない第2ヒント名前に「み」がつく
Me, it's good. Well, you just gave away the answer. We're a complete dunce. Then again, oh, Demi, you're so cute, Demi. There was a simple reason as to why I couldn't answer. Well, I obviously knew the answer. Saying the name out loud was pretty damn embarrassing. Well, since it was a delusion, I should just play along.
リミ
Oh.
ピンポーン
What? Her hands released my face. I opened my eyes. I turned around and to no surprise found Remy standing there.
待たしちゃってごめんね
Wait, what? I wasn't waking up from the delusion? Usually we just end here, and I'd suddenly return to my senses. I tried pinching her cheek. No, wait, that's how you tell if you're in a dream, but dreams and delusions aren't all that different. So it's really, not really wrong to use that method to, but ouch, my cheek hurts. What the F? Wait, was this actually real? Upon realizing this, I instantly became embarrassed. My face shot straight to the ground.
どうしたの顔赤いよ
Oh. In spite of her words, Remy's cheeks were dyed light scarlet. But maybe that was just because the sunset was shining down on her. Maybe.
さあ帰ろう
Yep, time to go home. I don't know if the chapter's ended. I don't know. I guess it just continues. Suimi Academy was in the high-end residential area of Shoto. Every house was huge, and the whole area just oozed with an air of success and affluence. Despite this being Shibuya and still daytime, and that there were hardly any people around, it gave the area this forlorn and lonesome air.
タクって意外とモテるよね
Yes, sir. I nearly just died just then. What the hell was she talking about?
あれ自覚ない
With a chuckle, Remy shot her index finger toward the tip of my nose. Don't point at people. It's rude, god damn it.
だってこの前はメガネかけた3年生の綺麗な人と一緒だったし
Oh,
あれは
うん昨日聞いたタクに意地悪する人だよね
you knew that then. Why are you?
で今日はあのフェスと話してたあと折原さん
Is this a
転
part of
校
the
してき
delusion?
た朝に真っ先にタクに声をかけてたよね
Whoa.
さらに今こうして私と一緒に帰ってる
Sorry for the spam to
ほ
talk.
らモテモテだ
Mote da. Actually, I've been thinking about that recently. Has my life as a normie begun? Are my popular times really finally here? What? Stuff like that. Something that would have been absolutely unthinkable for me a month ago. Back then, I never had the chance to even talk with 3D girls. Excluding Nanami. Nanami's his younger sister. I was always boasted about not being into 3D girls, but that was just to make myself look cool and different. So Raymond was definitely onto something. Why had my encounters with girls increased with such frequency lately? It all kicked off after that chat with Shogun. Scary thought suddenly crossed my mind. What if every single event in this past month had all been a delusion? I don't know. What if I'd just been having a really, really long dream? Considering how insane everything was, I didn't think it'd be all that surprised if everything went right back to normal tomorrow. Or maybe the person controlling me had swapped out with someone else. Maybe the previous one was happy just watching me go through the motions, but the new one preferred to interact with the other characters, or something like that. Either way, the past month didn't feel entirely real to me. Way too many things had been happening.
っていうか、私今日初めて知ったんだけど、フェスって同じ学校だったんだね。しかも同学年の隣のクラス。
Rami's voice was overflowing with excitement. I guess Rami was quite the trend chaser.
昨日タクから CD 借りたばっかりだからすごくびっくりしちゃった。
Yeah.
それにすごく可愛い子だし。
Whoa, Rami circled right around in front of me. While still facing me, she began to walk backward. Her voice got all quiet, and then she asked me a question timidly.
何話してたの？
Oh.
今朝フェス岸本さんと聞かせてほしいな。私には聞く権利なんてないかもって思うけど、でも岸本さんと話してた時のタク、すごく思い詰めた様子だったから、なんだか心配で。
She had seen completely through me. Guess it wouldn't be a bad idea to tell her everything. It wasn't like I had other people to talk about it. Plus, agonizing over it on my own had gotten pretty exhausting. I appreciate another perspective. Not from someone who spoke in nothing but vague, ambiguous BS like Ayase and Senna, but from someone that would give actual, concrete answers to my concerns. But when we talked yesterday, she hadn't believed me at all.
話してたのはケンのこと。
ケンって昨日タクが言ってたやつ。
綾瀬は持ってるんだ。
何を？
本物を。
I wasn't completely sure, but I thought I heard Rimi taking in a large breath. She staggered with her eyes open wide, and then, after taking a few steps back.
嘘だ。
Oh, so that? No way. That's a lie. She shouted with a clearly skeptical voice.
だってあれおもちゃでしょ？
My shoulder.
だから僕のはおもちゃだけど、彼女のは本物で、ライブ行けば見られる。
I quickly realized what I was saying and cut myself off. Would she even be able to see it? I mean, Ayase had mentioned that only people with powers could see these swords.
ライブに行けばその本物の剣を見られるの？じゃあ今度行ってみようかな。ファンタズムのライブそのものも見たいし。あ、タク一緒に行く？
見られないかも。限られた人にしか見えないらしいんだ。
Oh. Surely Rimi-chan.
あ、
He's special too.
そうなんだ。裸の王様みたいなものかな。じゃあ私バカだから見えないかも。なんてね。
Actually, that was a good point. Come to think of it, I didn't know anything about what exactly a real D sword was, nor how it worked. I'd just been accepting everything as I said without question.
そんな剣本当にあるのかな。やっぱり私信じられないよ。タクが見たっていう岸本さんの剣も本物っぽく見えるおもちゃじゃないの？
でも光ったし。
おもちゃでも光るやつはいくらでもあるよ。
Well, she wasn't wrong. If you want something to glow, you could easily slap some lights onto it. But when I thought of the overwhelming sense of presence Senna and Aias' swords had, the resistance became harder to deny. They had an aura about them that no mere toy should have been capable of. And most of all, Aias had taken that sword out of thin air. I'd seen it with my own eyes. It wasn't anything simple like hypnosis or super speed. On top of that, I felt as if I'd only gotten to experience the tip of the iceberg.
僕には妄想を現実に投影する力があるかも。
Ooh. I had no definite proof, but I tried throwing my thoughts at Remy.
だから将軍に、狙われてる気がする。
That was the only possible reason he'd be targeting. There's nobody more harmless than I was. Otakus were fundamentally harmless beings. We did shut ourselves away in our own little worlds after all. Yeah, sounds about right. If we had time to bother denizens of the third dimension, we'd rather spend that in our heads, flirting with adorable Moi characters.
昨日調べてた特許のこと？タクはあんな装置持ってるの
？Shook my head.
そうじゃなくて、装置とかなくても力使えるかも。
タクからかってるんでしょ？あ、わかった。何かの漫画かアニメが元ネタ？
This I had feared. She didn't believe me. I knew I'd experienced what I was talking about before, with that accident back in elementary school. I tried desperately to explain that to Remy. That might have been a murder. I knew Remy might abandon me if I confessed that to her, but I couldn't hide it anymore. I wanted to tell someone. If I did, I could clear the uncertainty in my mind, even if just a little bit. Remy listened to my shaky explanation with a troubled look on her face, remaining silent the entire time, and after I finished talking.
考えすぎだよ。
Oh, okay. She nonchalantly laughed the whole thing off.
そう考えてることだってタクの妄想なんだよ。わかってる？
True. Was I really overthinking it? That was a nice thought. Even with that theory, the uncertainty in the depths of my mind hadn't cleared at all. Oh, is that the end of my delusion? No, I don't know. The smell of dust waft throughout through an office. An office situated on the second floor of a somewhat old building. Sunlight streamed in through the window, covering the back wall, turning the fluttering dust into that of a thin, powdery snow. Words plastered onto the window. Rija. Credit Bureau cast a shadow onto a nearby desk. 20 desks were lined up across the floor, not even a hint of a gap between them. Each one was drowning in an endless sea of documents, papers, and files. Piles stacked so high, they looked to be on the verge of collapsing. From an outsider's perspective, it looked far more like a publishing company than a credit bureau. Most of the desks lacked denizens. There were only around 5 to 6 people at best. As for what I was, the obvious conclusion would be that it was a Saturday, but this was by no means the answer. This was made evident by the whiteboard stuck to the wall near the entrance. Its schedule densely packed with tasks and projects. Nearing the end of his lunch break, Ban Yasuji opened the door to the private investigation committee. Oh yeah, that guy. He entered without so much as a knock, yet none of the workers seemed to bat an eye. Continuing to act as if he belonged there, Ban gave a quick "How's it going?" and headed toward the desk at the back of the room. In it sat a robust-looking woman hunched over a laptop.
Oh, Momo-chan, genki?
Momo-chan. Oh, okay. In response, the woman continued staring at her monitor with a weary expression. Her name was Momose Katsuko. She was the president of Free Shop.
あんちゃんまた来たの？
また来ました。やっと。ニュージェネについての新ネタ、ない。
たく、私は忙しいのよ。抱えてる案件が5万ってあるの。
Ah. What's her name? Momose Katsuko? Katsuko. Oh. Her voice sounds familiar. I gotta look it up. Oh, just someone named Kujira. I'm like, what? Who's she known for? I don't know. I don't know. That's fine. No, I need to know. I did look her up in the past. What the heck? Oh, it's Orochimaru. Okay. I see.
うちみたいな零細企業は土日返上で仕事しなくちゃいけないの。わかる？
Almost finally raised her head. Placed a hand on her forehead and upon seeing Ban's grinning face, slightly shook her head.
ここは警察の秘密組織でも子会社でもないって何度も言ってるでしょうに。
Oh yeah, it's Otose Rangitama. Okay. That's where I last looked her up. Oh boy. I was like, whoa.
ただで情報もらえるなんて虫のいいこと考えてるんだろうけど、ここに来てる暇があるなら自分の足で何とかなさいの公務員さん。または依頼料を払うこと。予約表はみおちゃんにもらってちょうだい。
相変わらず冷てえ社長だな、おい。
Despite Momose's sharp remarks, Ban didn't show a hint of concern. He simply fanned himself with his distinctive handheld fan, remaining aloof as could be.
この会社立ち上げるときにはあんなに協力してやったのによ。
あら、ワンちゃんも恩着せがましい人だわね。何年同じことを言い続ければ気が済むわけ？
まあ言っててくれ。じゃあ依頼料はこいつでどうかな。
Ban showingly pulled out a plastic bag with the name of a nearby Japanese-style confectionery store on it.
なんだ、あるなら最初から出してよ。いつも悪いわね。みおちゃん、お茶2つ持ってきて。
Her attitude, having undergone a swift and stark change, Momose closely examined the contents of the bag Ban had handed to her.
あら、栗羊羹、今が旬なのよね。わかってるじゃない。あ、ばんちゃん、そんなところに突っ立ってないで座って。
Ban gave a wry smile, took a chair from the closest desk, and seated himself beside Momose. The clerical lady Momose had called for before brought over 2 steaming cups of tea.
で、なんか新ネタあるかい？
ちょっと待ちなさいって。
Momose carefully unwrapped a chestnut yokan, folded up the wrapper, and set it beside her PC. He then hurriedly devoured the first of the sweet treats. Japanese style treats were her greatest weakness. They were a necessary offering for a band to bring every time he came to for information.
おいしいわこれ。
Yeah, that's right.
人に言えた義理じゃないけどよ。ちったダイエットしたらどうだよ。でないといつまでたっても結婚できないぜ。
本当に人に言えた義理じゃないわね。私はもうとっくに今期は逃したわよ。
A shrug of her shoulders. Almost he took a sip from her tea, then turned to face Ban.
また新しいニュージェネ事件起きたわね。こんなところでサボってていいの？
そっちの調査は俺以外の全員が真剣に取り組んでるさ。俺は別のアプローチから真実に迫ってやるってね。
かっこつけちゃって似合わないわよ。
Knowing himself to be quite sensitive to hot drinks, Ban showed no hint of reaching for his cup. He simply continued to fan his face, in spite of the already chilly air. Well, something of a habit of his.
警察は G レートの線追ってるの？
G rate.
そうそう、G レートね。ありゃすごいな。ももちゃんの話の通りだったぜ。
私が嘘の情報を渡すわけないでしょうに。これでおまんま食べてるんだから。それで？
まあ、勝手に調べてるよ。
勝手にって。ちょっとばあちゃん！
What does Ban do? Almost his voice carried well. Her personality was intrinsically energetic, lending her voice quite a bit of volume. Workers of Frisia were used to this. Not even batting an eye as her angry voice reverberated throughout the office. The boss's yelling was an everyday occurrence of her. Ban and Momose were old friends, so he's all too familiar with being on the receiving end of it. Thus, much to her chagrin, Momose's rap was met only with him lazily picking at his ear. Before she said anything else, Momose quickly lowered her voice, for this was a topic she did not want met with prying ears. But her face was red with anger as she had not been cheerfully stuffing herself with sweets just moments before. She pointed her finger at Ban with tremendous intensity.
個人で追うのは危険だって言ったじゃない。政治に宗教に企業、どれだけ根深く関与してると思ってるの？
How deep? How rude is it?
この間テレビで G レートの講義をやった太田教授がどうなったかあんたもよく知ってるでしょ。
ああ、貼り付けで殺された被害者だろ。何度も聞いたよ。
何度でも言ってやるわ。言ってやりますとも。あんたはいつも私の忠告を無視するんだから。それでいつも尻拭いさせられるのは私なんてたまったもんじゃないわ。
I guess I never made it this far. Interesting.
まあそうかって茶でも飲んで落ち着いたら。
Ignoring both Ban and her tea, Momose tossed a second chestnut yokon into her mouth in a huff.
大丈夫だって。一応諏訪と一緒に動いてるんで。今はまだ G レートやら何やるってな、突飛すぎて上を説得できねえなよ。
諏訪ちゃんは確かに有能だししっかりしているけど無理させたら承知しないわよ。
ももちゃんはいつから諏訪の保護者になったんだ？
バンちゃんの無謀な行動に未来ある若者が巻き込まれるのはかわいそうでしょうに。
そうか。
With a shrug of resignation, Ban took a testing sip of his tea, only to immediately freeze. It's still too hot. Skirmish.
しかし バイオリズムが人を殺す凶器になるなんてこと、本当にありえるのかね。
Oh, that's what the back rucksack.
前に説明したでしょうに。
実はいまいち理解しきれてねえんだわ。それってももちゃんお得意の電磁波と関係してるのか。
Almost hit out of sight. Then in contrast to Ban, reportedly shipped at her tea.
満月の夜の事件簿はよく知ってるでしょ。
まあな。
A vast influx of incidents and accidents were all secured on the night of a full moon. This was no urban legend either. They need only glance at the Tokyo Metropolitan Police's statistical records.
その満月以上の力でバイオリズムカーブが上昇したらどうなると思う？
興奮するってことだ。
それだけ？渋谷は特殊な街なのよ。言ったでしょ。 GE レートが高ければバイオリズムカーブが上昇する。しかもその上昇値は満月の夜に影響する数値のおよそ6800倍。
6,800 times more intense. Whoa.
なんと想像しにくい数字だな。
比べ物にならないくらいすごいって考えとけばいいわ。
しかしなんで今なんだ。
殺された太田教授が言っていたのは GE レートが半年前から急に増加しているせいってことね。地層の構造に大きな変化が起きない限りそんなことはありえないそうだけど。そう、駅前のスクランブル交差点で火山が噴火するほどのエネルギーが必要なの。
火山？そんなに大きな力なのか。
それくらい今の GE レートはありえない状況なのよ。
それを世間に訴えようとした教授はニュージェネで殺された。
事件の前日に教授が出演する予定だったテレビ番組が急遽放送中止になった話知ってる？
確か。
知り合いに MHK に勤めている人がいて
MHK?
聞かされたの。
Oh, it's like NHK. What's MHK instead?
国営放送の番組に圧力をかけられる立場なんてそうそうないぜ。
私も詳細についてはわからないわ。知ってたらとっくに告発してるだろうし。
俺でも大体予想はつくさ。この際はっきり言っちゃってよ。
本気で聞きたい。社会の安保に踏み込むことになるわよ。いいの？パンちゃんクビになるかもしれない。
Don't get fired, man.
俺はニュージェネ事件の犯人さえ捕まえられりゃそれでいいんだけどね。まあどうするか答えを聞いてから考えるな。
Finger T moments tapped away at a laptop keyboard with her free hand. Displayed on screen was a single document. It contained a list of information moments had personally looked into.
名和と
A mail party.
もうじゃあ勘弁してくれ。俺はてっきり野党の名前が出てくると思ってたんだがな。よりによって。
Van groaned in utter exasperation. Yet, despite his smile, his eyes showed not even a hint of one. Holiday House now was the cold, discerning gaze of a detective.
下手したらこの国が揺らぐぜ。
Since it was the weekend, I'd been unable to get Remy to come over, so I was forced to spend 2 very anxious days all by myself. I had Remy pick up some groceries on Friday so I could survive the weekend without leaving my base, but I'd come very close to sending her a text asking her to come over multiple times. But in the end, I hadn't said anything. The only thing that gave me a break from my anxiety was a half hour I spent watching the latest episode of Blood 2. Even in extreme circumstances such as this one, I still had to make sure to stay up to date on Blood 2. Remy was my sole source of comfort in the third dimension, but when it came to the second one, Bloodtoon was the one that fulfilled that role. Well, to be more specific, Seilatan. After I'd finally overcome that weekend, Monday came. I took a peek at Repara's Phantasm section, only to find it in a state of complete disarray. Wasting no time, I immediately followed the link, taking me to it. It was a total spit show. Cool story, bro. No tip, I can't even read. Oh, whatever. Well, I guess EHM. What is EHM? Shimoto. Ah! EHM Art Medical. Oh. Finally. Notice the fantastic. Oh no. Yes. Don't quit. No. The black masculine. Woody fish time. What? Roller skates, what? Holy Grace, whoa. Follow the URL. 12 had sent. The Arkhart Medical? Yeah. Apparently, Arkhart Medical was an old school psychiatric facility that only treated severe cases of mental illness. Or at least that was what the website said. The website had pictures of the place, and frankly, it looked like a straight up penitentiary. There were iron bars on every single window. I wasn't even sure if it was still open or not. The homepage had been updated for 4 years or so. But just as the poster on that channel said, it said, beneath a certain poem was the name of and photo of a young Ayase.
Ayaseは精神病.
Oh. The shadow of the wicked heart in that body. It wasn't what that it was shocking to me or anything like that. After all, I'd regularly gone to a mental hospital too, back when I was in elementary school. So really, I felt sympathy for him. Ayase and I were the same. She had that bewitching aura to her, and every person in my age in Shibuya thought she was so charismatic, despite how different that made us. In this one way, same. The fact that we had that in common reinforced my hypothesis that I had the same power she did, the power to project illusions onto reality. It wouldn't be wrong to say that it gave me some courage, maybe even strength. Though, there was one problem. Up until now, I had taken everything I said face value, but that might have been a mistake. Things about how to acquire a Jisoo. Things about how getting my hands on one could save me. It wasn't the phenomenon she had shown me that was making me doubt her, but the words she had said. I wasn't sure whether or not to believe her. Maybe. The sudden ringing of my phone startled me. You could always count on them to take you by surprise. I nearly pissed myself. That was why I hated these things. The loud ringing refused to stop, so I clicked my tongue and grabbed it. So it was probably Nanami calling. It's probably just gonna calling me to each about whatever random BS was bothering to kill me now. Annoyed as could be, I pressed the accept call button and held the phone to my ear without checking who was calling. I had no idea why I did that. After everything that I'd been through, why the hell had I not checked the caller's number? What came from the other side of the line was a certain melody playing loudly. You may pass. I frantically checked the number on the display. Shit, I knew I should have checked. It was them, but how? It said that it wasn't in use anymore. When I had Nanami called the number to check, that one notice played. Maybe the prankster had reactivated it?
どうしよう。
Panicking, I turned toward the center of my room. Surely Rimi would be there, ready to give me some advice. But she obviously wasn't. Of course she wasn't. Rimi was at school right now, in the middle class. I had told her in advance that I wouldn't go to school today, so she hadn't come to pick me up. As I freaked out trying to figure out what the hell to do, You May Pass kept on playing from my phone. A whole minute had already passed. From the small moment I listened to earlier, I could tell there were other sounds mixed in with the song. A few things I could make out were the sounds of car engines and people walking. Whoever was calling me, they had to be outdoors. But who the hell was calling me? I could only think of one person that would pull a prank like that. Really freaking out, I looked at Seira-tan, who was standing next to my PC screen.
どうしたらいいと思うセーラ。
Seira-tan smiled at me, just as she always did.
切っちゃえばいいさ。無視無視。
Oh, mushi.
そっか。そうだよね。その手があった。
I should have done that from the beginning. Put my thumb on the button to end the call. For some reason. Before hanging up, I felt the undeniable urge to listen to You May Pass just one more time. Just for a little bit longer. It felt strange, even to me. It creeped me out. There was no reason I should have hesitated even more remotely, and yet I almost subconsciously gripped my phone, brought it to my ear. Whoa. I'm searching out the phone. Fierce pain. A violent, piercing, nearly ultrasonic noise. That sound shot throughout my entire body. It felt as if lightning struck my head. My entire body was paralyzed. I screamed as loud as I could, yet I couldn't hear my own voice. Boiling. My brain. My heart. They boiled, they bubbled, melted into mush. Pain called from deep within my body, tearing me apart. No! My consciousness liquefied and coursed through my veins, and when it finally arrived at my heart, it erupted in a resounding explosion and vanished. Overwhelmed by these horrific sensations, I was unable to figure out what was going on. I could no longer even think. Whoa. Oh no, it's Yua. When Kunitsuki Yua slowly opened her eyes, she saw her class. Class 3B enveloped in pure chaos. Several students had collapsed, their eyes had rolled back into their heads, foam bubbled from their mouths as their entire bodies convulsed. Whoa. Another group of students were crouched low to the floor, cowering, pressing down on their heads in pain. Students that remained shot up from their seats and made straight for the hallway, even though classes were technically still in session. The teacher was too focused on taking care of the students that had collapsed to pay those who left any attention. All the students that had run away were screaming in terror, but none of that seemed to register within Yua's mind. Her phone had been vibrating in her skirt pocket for a while now. Once she finally realized that, Yua slowly reached for it. She attempted to stand up, but was unable to keep steady and fell from the chair. Staying low to the ground, she leaned against the wall. After she put her glasses back in place, Yua pressed the accept call button. Held her phone to her ear.
はい。あ、はい。はあ。はい。あ、一応大丈夫です。
As she answered the question, Yua grimaced and pressed on her forehead. She could hear the clamor of her classmates in the hallway, as well as the voice of her teacher trying to help the unconscious students, but it all sounded so terribly distant.
はい。
Hi.
ええ。あなたは。はい。はい。そうですか。それで。
Suddenly, Yua went pale. With a gulp, she covered her phone with her hand and brought her voice low. Her voice had very clearly been shaking.
そんなわけないんです。だって本当は。
Upon saying that much, Yua's voice began to falter. She hung her head.
本当は私だったのに。
What did she do? Motion in the hallway intensified. Everyone was looking and pointing in the same direction, anxious expressions on their face. Whoa. Sounds like there was a gunshot. The windows in the hallway rattled as if they were being hit by a fierce gale. I guess it's just the wind.
そうです。私の妹です。
Oh, sister.
はい。わかりました。
At last, Yua bowed her head as the person she was speaking to was in front of her and hung up the phone. Then she looked up and directed her gaze towards where everyone was pointing beyond the window.
空は。
It was as if a seal of white paint had coated the surface of the Grand Lake. The sky, which had previously been filled only by its light blue color, was turning white. Spreading at an impossible speed, it bled rapidly across the sky, eroding each and every speck of blue it could find.
白く染まっていく。
No. Oh, we're finally on chapter 6. I guess I'll stop for today. We're gonna shave, and then I gotta eat dinner and stuff. I might play some more later tonight. We'll see. Oh wait, how do I save? I forgot how to. Oh, there we go. Right click. Okay, we're gonna save here. Well, I guess I forgot to save all those delusions. I'm like, oh well, that's fine. There, chapter 6. We're on no. Oh, I can change page. Oops. Yeah, I have a bunch of saves. Oops. That's fine. Oh, that's too easy to. Oops. Right, go. Quick backlog. What's this? Toothbrush. Config. It's like controller. I'm like, what? Is there anything I want to change for next time? Oh, yeah, skip most for yeah, that's good. Oh, name time would be good. Just as yeah, I'll turn this on for next time. So I can know who's talking. I was like, oh, I mean, no, I already know, but like, I like seeing the names. Movie volume. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we're done. Thank you for watching, or I mean, I guess for those in the future that watch on YouTube, thank you for checking out this video. You feel free to like and subscribe if you want. Anyway, goodbye.